once you're in there, you realize, you got two choices. You can either fight it or go with it. And I mean, the water's going in one direction. It's all going down, and eventually you're going to get through the rapid. So when I finally popped out and I wasn't going back under, it was a time for cheering. Yeah.
When I had found out about the trip to the Grand Canyon, I was actually, my area coordinator let me know that the trip was going on. And it was really just a matter of how well he trusted me. He told me that I was the only person that he actually trusted to commit to the trip and actually be able to go out and do it. So immediately I was thinking, okay, it's obviously whitewater rafting down the Grand Canyon, so it's going to be outdoors and it's going to be in nature and it's going to be having a good time. And I was on board like right from the get-go.
When I first heard that I was going, like I always do, I do my research and I started watching videos and reading about it, and it was pretty scary. And I also knew that we were going to be doing some pretty hefty hikes. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to do them. I didn't know if I'd be able to do any of them. But once you get through it, a day or two, the first hike we did, really it's essentially a leap of faith where it's like, just go. Just get off the boat and just go. If you can't make it, then turn around. It was kind of neat because up until those 10 days, I don't think I had gone 10 days without having problems with my leg. And the whole time down in the canyon, the most active I've been since I've been wounded, I didn't have any problems with my leg.
Almost immediately, me and several other people on the trip were kind of, in a way, looking up to Ryan. Everyone was there dealing with some type of injury, but none of us were dealing with an injury that was as physical as Ryan's. I mean, when you are on the verge of passing out on like a 7-mile hike, like no one's been on a hike that far since they were in the military, and the only time you did a hike that long in the military was because someone told you to and you just did it anyways. And you look behind you and here's this guy with missing one leg and his other leg is fused at the knee, so it can't even bend, and he's not even breaking a sweat. You're like, this guy's unbelievable. So while we were on our Grand Canyon trip, we had found out that Hopis, which are a native group that are in the area, were actually going on like a kind of like a vision quest or a spiritual journey down the river ahead of us. So probably about day 6, we were coming around a bend in the river, and John, who was leading the trip, had mentioned that the Hopi wanted us to go see them, which in all the years he's been on the river, he has never had a group where the Hopi said they wanted to speak with them while they were on it's like going to Mecca or going to Jerusalem or something like that. Like it's not a joke for them to be on this spiritual quest down the river. As we were approaching, John, his wife is actually like a renowned Hopi expert, who was with them, bringing them down the river. He told us a chant that they do.
Wee! So he told us that's how we're going to say it, and he counted to 3, and all 2 or 3 boats, I don't remember how many we had out at the time, probably 2. All of us in unison did that together, and all of the Hopi on the beach heard it.
We immediately saw in like the Hopi, their faces, that like they really appreciated it and respected it, and you could just see that they understood that we respected them, and we knew they respected us.
So Marvin took probably a good 15-20 minutes to explain to us why they respect us. And it's because we're warriors like they're warriors, and our spirits are aligned. And then he took us off the boats and lined us up on the beach, used the hematite paint, and had us lift up our shirt, and he rubbed it on our chest and our heart and said a little prayer for us.
And he was just telling us the story about how when we did that yell, he didn't just hear us yell, he heard all of our brothers at the same time. And so for a lot of us who, we have, a lot of people don't realize it because, you look at me and I'm just one person, but I'm carrying the baggage of 4 of my friends who died and one of my friends who lost a leg, and the memories and the nightmares and just dealing with that on what is pretty much a daily basis. Didn't know a single one of us, but respected us enough for what we did and what we were there for, that he wanted to bring us into what their purpose was for being on the river was just unbelievable. And that was where he started going into this dialogue about how we were there and we needed to leave whatever was weighing us down in the river, and we were gonna bury it in the river, and we were gonna be healed from it.
The river essentially washes away the bad things in your life, the negative. And that's why they go down there. It's spiritual for them, obviously, and they come out stronger than they went in.
And so immediately for me, like, I started thinking about my friends who had died and people who I'd seen get injured or seen die. And then one day it was either the next day or several days later, we were going into kind of our first rapid that was like a really bad rapid. Myself and several other people who were on the trip were in the paddle raft, and we just kind of got the life beaten out of us, bouncing off rocks underwater for like what seemed like an eternity. After I surfaced and got back up on one of the larger boats is when I looked down and realized that I didn't have my hero bracelet on anymore. And immediately I was just completely stunned at the fact that the whole point of us being there was to heal together and to leave our troubles and ailments in the canyon. And it just seems so ironic that my bracelet was lost at what was essentially the most emotional time in the trip for me, which was kind of that feeling of being in combat again, where you're fighting for your life and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. It allowed me to come to terms with a lot of things that had happened, things that I had run away from with different techniques. And when you're out in the canyon, like surrounded by just beauty everywhere, you kind of, eventually those thoughts are going to come into your head, and you need to think about it, and you need to come to terms with it, and you need to find a way to actually recover from it, because you're there for 10 days and there's no getting out unless you get seriously injured. And so it's almost like you have to find a way to survive it.
Well, I don't think words can do the trip justice. We can do our best, we can take pictures, we can do these interviews, we can tell our stories, but until you actually go down there and see it and get to know 24 new brothers and 3 new river guides and a whole new culture, really. So yeah, I would hope that the American Legion takes our word for it and looks at the pictures and watches the videos, because it's unlike any other trip. I've done other trips, we've gone skiing and but this is a dangerous place. And like I said with me, you're on the edge, so you feel alive. And that's what was special about it. It wasn't just, rubbing elbows with donors and trying to impress them no. This is guys trying to survive at the bottom of a canyon, alone, isolated. So if you're thinking about donating to this cause, I don't know if there's anything better to donate it to. Because once you get through this, first of all, you feel like you're tougher than you were. You feel like you can do more than you did before. But also you got several new friends that can help you get through it.